has that responsibility to hold and stall in case they're getting pushed. So they need the Viper Orb and a Snake Bite. But if anything, the TP's back to support here on A side fights, on B side hits. That's what the Euro for me as well could be another key point of what he could actually leverage here for the side of Prosperity as they start things off. 4 players on the A side. And there you go. You see what happens? There's 4 players there. They have no aggression. The TP already goes to the C side, and you're able to be a lot more mobile on Prosperity side. You already have a 2-2-1 setup and full A main control. Great start.
Out of Prowlers, out of Fade Util for Jonah. Was what, dropping almost 300 ACS last game, so a huge boon for Legacy. As already the Prowler was getting the attention of someone like Yuki watching here in Min as the door opens. Eyes are wide for someone like Manny. Wants to really turn this map around for Prosperity, or this series around, I should say. It is just the beginning. And Legacy have already made their way in, so Manny not being able to cut anything off and caught lacking as Muddy opens up first blood, and Prosperity lack behind and will fall back to Waterfall.
The leader was supposed to move in that pillar, was supposed to spot the players walking through, and Muddy slipped across. And as he did so, just caught Manny off guard, and then they're forced to play a retake, but look at how we're pushed towards the spawn.
Oh, Money's confident, but now blinded, and Satchel's out with the rest of the squad, and Coburg finds a fun angle, but Blast gets the finish. Wait a minute, the retake could be big. Jonah has to dodge the nade, and Iso frames that perfectly. And now against Corrupt, has no idea where they are. So Corrupt is really winning at the hide-and-go-seek battle. And knows that, well, the Iso's not on the spike, so play your life, play for time, and play for the win.
And beautiful by Corrupt and Jugal. He can see that nobody's on that spike. He doesn't even have to full swing to look. He just sees here that the line is not moving up here on the defuse of that spike. So he knows that Muddy's off. It was a second tap, a second fake. And he just wins that one easily there on the 1v1. Again, great calling and mobility out of how Prosperity started things off. But that slight mistake of being able to let Muddy slip through just at the bottom and get that first pick onto the bend was really everything that toppled down here for Prosperity to have a strong anchored hold. So they had to play a full pistol once again, only a sheriff's in the hand of the leader, and he's trying to control Mound.
He could be definitely good for one. Manny could just get initial info and just spams through and baits for the leader, who is going to be subtracted himself from this fight.
Yeah, that's going to foil really everything else that was planned here for Prosperity. When you're looking at it, you have no snake bites. There's no stall on C. The wall's already across, but everybody's walked through already. Corrupt's already moved up. Cobra maybe could win a 1v1 if Corrupt closes that gap on how he's peeking, but he's moving brilliantly around the map, leveraging a door that hasn't been broken yet. He's keeping his opponents at arm's length. Now he has...
Oh, what? Corrupt doesn't lose those. That was so silly, because that would have inspired Legacy to go A, and now it's back to plan. Well, the first plan. I was gonna say plan A. Don't want to confuse anyone. C has been found. Everyone evicted. Double push coming from Waterfall from Yuki and Iso, with the haunt being thrown out. Nades to try and stop the plant, and Legacy will be delayed slightly, and smokes unobscured. Prosperity trying to get their outlaw into position. And Legacy can be caught off guard, but it's already pressured back and through the wall. Oberg is found. Just Prosperity hoping to just go down to the spike now, and I look like they had some potential there from Prosperity with the util they were able to delay with.
Especially with 2 kills they get with classics. I mean, you'll take it any other day. The way that Corrupt was able to win that 1v1, sorry, Coburg was able to win that 1v1 against Corrupt with just a classic, that was super clean. And then trying to entry in, you flick right into the kill onto Muddy from Manny's position from the top of the boxes at the entrance of the site. You'll take it any other day as well. So at least what's looking good for Prosperity is that their aim is still quite locked in moving into the second map. Now they have weapons to work with, and if they're able to clean that a little bit more on how they want to hold out the angles on the position that they grab, they should be in a cleaner position in a in a much better position on the defensive side to potentially even close it out. Because I gotta say, again, to revert back to the pistol round, they had great positioning, great rotations. Make sure you don't let people slip through, and you'll be in a good. You'll be fine.
Now we wait.
Yeah, Props had a hot start on the map 1 with a 5-1 or 6-1 lead, and ever since Legacy got into the server, like fully mentally logged in, he just fully took over. Only giving up what, 2 rounds to Prosperity in that second half. Now it's Legacy looking to take this whole series with how this is starting. All depends if they can deny this rifle round of Prosperity and just really have some momentum. But this stab from Manny on the high ground, just looking the ace. Legacy on the entry, just finding the one gap in their defenses. Oh, insane stuff out of Manny. No ace for you though.
He was You just saw Manny just shooting back at his teammate, doing a little bit of a texture moment, and from VCT Toronto stealing his ace. But that was such a nice hold, a nice timing by Manny. I was gonna say he's left on an island. You saw that TP that came through from the deleter at the very beginning, but he decided to walk back with his teleport because they didn't know if players actually slipped through the cracks into the B site because of the initial flash that came out from the Vice over on Blast. So they had to make sure they clear that spot. And I was like, Manny's dead for rights, but he gets a 4K instead with that from the support of the C's. You'll take it. He's on fire. He's on fire.
Take that one too.
My ult is ready.
He's goated. He's goated. He's been looking to set up plays like that. Usually Deleter's been around Mound to kind of bait and switch with Manny. Legacy find themselves behind this time. All this rubble control though. See if Corrupt can open things up, and have a buddy too. Good buddy system from Legacy in a 2-2 split. Jonah with a big win removes that anchor and creates a weaker site over at C. And a Nightfall, kind of a mystery. Not thought that someone was going to be around Waterfall, and that's a good cutoff from Yuki from those lurkers that was so rotating at A. And that's a big fumble, as Legacy are going to just have half the forces on the post plant. The only chance is if Jonah goes sicko mode and just takes an unlucky duel at a revolving door against Yuki. And Tim on the post plant deals with not only the player, but the Prowler. Now he's going to respect the sentry and kind of hesitated against the Yoru, not knowing if it was the clone, but just not quick enough to the trigger. Here's the flood, and the 3K looks stacked, but not stacked enough.
It was a nice try because everybody bottlenecked into that position, and he almost could have gotten it done, but I saw only 7 bullets left in the mag, so I don't know if it was going to be fully doable, but if anything, all up to on how Manny and Yuki opened up and held the mid round for the side of Prosperity on the beginning of the retake. And that's the other thing too, when you realize that there's no pressure coming in from the A side, at least from Legacy's endpoint, they've been always defaulting on mid and C to start. It allows for them to just rotate as a group, not be afraid here of these rotates. You see how Yuki's already in the front, the other one can just knife rotate. And Legacy needs to do a little bit of a better job now to at least keep some players pinned with some fake info at the beginning of the round, not allowing Prosperity to get these early picks.
Strong anchoring from Prosperity, and Legacy want to satchel in off the orb grab and a showstopper. Show them how it's done, and man, Legacy just barely have any space to step on. They just fell back into the smoke, and they just divided, not really fully committed to the fight or not, and Prosperity just ran them down.
Yeah, and thankfully, silver lining out of that one is that Legacy realizes the amount of util that's available for Prosperity if they want to go for an aggro hit into rubble. There was just so much that stole them. From flashes to C's to haunts, everybody was getting pinged and blinded, and it was free kills all around for the side of Prosperity. And that's because Legacy was on an eco and they didn't have too much to like answer back with in terms of their own util, so maybe things could be different this time around if they did want to decide to go for that again.
And you're looking for that same lurk impact from Corrupt. Kind of match what Manny's been able to do on the other side. Really trusted with solo anchoring C Gonna be marked though by this Fade util, so it's gonna call for help quite quickly. It's gonna need so Nightfall and just getting spammed through. Can't believe Manny still stands. Now Prosperity restack towards C. I would hope that Legacy pivot out of this because they did not get the opening they wanted.
Yeah, at least there's still a 5-on-5 scenario right now for both of these teams. So you're seeing that Legacy are trying to pressure back towards this A site to force a rotate through. That's what I want to see. That's what we mentioned before. Keep some players honest on that side, especially with that pick that's going to weaken up C. Look at the instant rotate coming out from the deleter. He has no TP to go back towards that C site. Oh, there's a spot, anything towards front B. And now it's just solo Manny once again, low HP on the C site.
And Coburg should have had that kill on the Corrupt, but Showstopper could get some kills too, and Manny splashed her. Good read. We're hearing that drop down, and now Yuki has to hold back, and it's a Steel Garden to force Prosperity away from the fight or at a disadvantage. It always starts and ends at C. Nizo has to come on a flank here with Yuki leading at the front, and it's not going to be easy. The only chance you have is if you finish Corrupt, and even though Corrupt's at 8 HP, they just kill 2? They're insane.
Corrupt's been seeking revenge ever since he lost that 1v1 against Coburg's pistol. And with 8 HP, he's like, not this time. Beautiful out in the open position, knows that he's not being pressured by any type of agent that could really flash him out from his spot. Easy kill there onto Manny with the audio cue of him dropping down towards that site. And now we're tied 3-3 here. Here is that fight towards that A side, but the read for Prosperity this time around is to fight on C. So no util is going to meet up against him. But we were just questioning before, the counter util, what did they have available for Legacy? You just saw it there. So the C's came through, and then they didn't catch anybody. Nades came across, and now they could plow fast tempo into the A site.
They're attempting to, but this backstab, the timing from the deleter. Been waiting to see him show up to be in that spotlight. Converts 3 and almost the ace. That was insane. And Tim, the 1 versus 3, still has the spike to plan and just chooses the wrong angle. But Wade almost turns and burns on Coburg, who chokes that duel, gives Tim the ult, and he's out of town.
Dude, if he plants this and wins this, the leader is gonna get so mad.
Have to delete his team and find a new one.
Yeah. Install a new team.
I got my 4K.
He's only got a smoke, so he doesn't have too much here to fight against this 1v2, while Yuki has Seize and Haunt.
Shadows traveling.
That's exactly where the hit's coming from. I'm gonna try and isolate them. Iso's already cleared backside. I think he threw a nade, and Tim is just running for his life. And Iso turns behind and gives Tim the ace from a 4K to the leader to the true man himself, Tim. Legacy up.
Oh my God, that's gotta hurt so much. Again, as I mentioned, there was not enough util or players to help out for Prosperity in the very beginning to hold towards this A side. I forget again about the leader, Azure, TPs across, finds the gap, gets these picks, and somehow Tim does this. First off, Coburg's gonna shoot himself in the foot for that one for sure. But that's gotta, I would have called a timeout at this point. Props right now to Prosperity to keep going with this.
Where are you?
Timothy strikes. Now at a distance. Prosperity bringing in the sheriffs, bringing in Deleter, who's going to have to sub out on that one. Just waiting for the desperate walk down from Prosperity. I like kind of the mid watch here from Legacy, and their read's going to be right. Seeing a Prowler. Corrupt holds back. Claims 1. Deleter gone. Now you should be pretty confident if you're Legacy to just kick it at C. Only chance is if Yuki kind of assists on all these angles and watch on the lower side, but Legacy are just going to pivot into B.
Yeah. With those picks that came through from the default spot that you saw from the very beginning, those picks that came across, they were pushing out towards that B side to find information, and losing those players, even late in that round, nobody should be left in that B side. So nice call from Legacy to pivot back towards B. try to farm up some orbs.
Oh, wait, with these upgrades, you can maybe do more than that. But Yuki's at 15 HP, and Spike is ticking away. Legacy not even gonna let the door stay open. And it's a Muddy with a big finish, and Legacy with 3 rounds in a row. Momentum on their side. Surely a timeout.
Like I said, I'd probably call at this point, especially with that turnaround that Tim just did with that clutch ace before. But it doesn't seem like it. I feel like that probably means that Prosperity still has a good game plan and they're still quite confident what they're able to do. It's just a slight mishap on how they lost that 1v1 between Cobrick and Tim, and for Tim to win that clutch. Outside of that, everything's been quite to the book and pretty decent for Prosperity side. So maybe that's why they're not calling the timeout. TP being set up here. No pressure across, but this time no Omen to play on top of Rubble. So we're just going to maintain our Yoru at that spot for now.
Muddy against the world there. Manny not going to play his further back position. Front and center. Building confidence as that Sentinel. But now with the pits, we're going to have to spam through it. Maybe Dimensional Drift from the leader. Kind of spots where this Viper is. But now it's a Nightfall from Jonah to really flush out the rats from the pit. And it's Legacy just hosing all of these defenders down with ultimates, but somehow respawning Showstopper and Prosperity, building pillars around their pit. That was enough. And it's the defuse for Prosperity.
Almost seems like a very similar scenario where Legacy didn't really pay attention to what ults were available against their opponents, just like TSM did against Shopify earlier on tonight. So not realizing that there is still a Yoru ult available, an Odin available, Showstopper as well for the retake, and you want to hit and pin yourselves onto a seaside plant. That was just very nicely done towards the end. ISO with that kill on top of that. Mind you, that ISO's playing Raze when he was playing Initiator from the previous round, so you're also seeing that Prosperity has depth in terms of agent pool for the team.
There.
Legacy
easily
now.
Seen that from Corrupt too.
Yeah,
Another
definitely. Yeah, Duelist, Smoker, Sentinel, and now the leader back in action on the C-Mount control.
It's definitely been hit or miss, and then they get hit by headshots. So
Those hit.
the leader gets value from that position this time, but it is Legacy being able to lead the charge now with Muddy at the front, even extending out of the site. And the Prowler reveals positioning here at Waterfall, and Legacy only have Corrupt for smoke, so it's not going to be well protected. At least the spike gets off, and Muddy keeps things locked down. Kohlberg 1 versus 3 would have to get a pretty lucky headshot. No paranoia to make things easy. Just gonna try and get people out of that power position. Kohlberg is hearing the approach. You're hearing the swing. Legacy finishes it off.
It was a nice try, though. Those nice jiggle swings, always 1v1s that he had, until unfortunately those shots didn't hit, and it became a 2-on-1 swing on the right side of that smoke when he went towards that waterfall side. So Legacy still able to maintain that lead, not allowing Prosperity to really tie up this game, but they are definitely putting up a good fight for both of these sides. We talked about a certified banger to close out the night. Wasn't really on that first map, maybe at the very beginning, but now it's definitely looking really good on both sides. Both teams taking advantage of each other's mistakes. Both teams looking really good on their game plans as well. Starts with the Odin. No hits coming through, but at least they know that there's a Odin player on the A site for the side of Legacy. So that means a more passive hold on the A site, and Legacy wants to take advantage of that a little bit more.
First starts with that pressure into tree, and with the Odin, you're just trying to deal with this problem quickly and swiftly, and you do so with the Showstopper. You have that last Prowler left to get deep into sight. So Legacy has some security, they have confidence, they have their Viper's Wall to steal off stairs, and they have Corrupt playing around and exploring when they can, but Prosperity have their own duelists with firepower, and they lead in. Manny, big win from stairs. Just when you thought the round looked good, Legacy just have Jonah to try and clutch, and with 2 already converted, it's from the Odin to the Vandal. Manny has to push into tree. It's difficult, an ultimate showdown. Jonah paying dividends, and he does. Save it for Legacy.
Scare me.
We're playing clutch
Last
mode for
round
both of
before
these
the
teams so
switch.
far, and this time it's Jonah 6. Putting up big numbers on the first map, and this time around also winning a 1v3. Manny, after that kill, or sorry, Muddy, after that kill, only had 1 HP. But man, I gotta say, despite the loss, Manny has been doing an excellent job on holding out C site and doing as much as he could on these rotates. But man, this always comes down to the wire for both of these teams. This is so sick that what we're seeing so far.
The leader had a good chance over at Mound. It's more difficult with a Stinger, but options limited when there's a pit and B, so Legacy have to be careful. The Prowler, the Boombot, gonna reveal the leader close and could be just crashing out of here any second. Last second does so. Legacy gonna make do with the void that was left behind. Gonna wait out the smoke, of course. Nightfall in, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, we have a nice little 2-1-2. The thing is yeah, and Jonah also has Nightfall, so they could just use this to execute towards the side. They'll get info on both players.
All right, TPing in. Tim gonna find an angle, still looking to finish off that Yoru. The leader saw it. Legacy 3 setting up base, and the Nightfall helped. Now Waterfall will have Yuki, but with a shotgun, it's not ideal to try and dislodge those people from the power position. And with Blast, the Steel Garden, Yuki, it's gonna be even more trouble. But with the Sheriff, looked even better. And now Legacy have really shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, I think Yuki deserves it. Those body shots, what the heck?
Switching sides.
Bro, kill with the Bucky, back with the Shorty, back with the Bucky. I mean, they utilized even the Vice ult to try to run it down onto Waterfall and still lost that fight. That is something again that you're not gonna really like here on the side of the attack when you're trying to take over that site for Legacy's end. But in the end, it doesn't matter. They still have the lead by 2. Prosperity though does have a little bit of room to breathe here on the attack side with how they close out that half. Start things off, 3 players trying to move out towards this B side, a 1-3-1 setup. Viper Wall to start, which is quite interesting though. As the Viper Wall comes up, it's actually the Omen. Koberg's going to be the one trying to observe and move forward.
Prowler bought by Yuki and not Jonah, so just play off that C's for the defense with the nade. And Toledo does literally a drive-by, then walks into his teammate's nade. This is so give and take, but you take those if you're Prosperity.
And I respect it because he was pretty much on a one and done, right? He was being seized in that corner. He was going to get naded no matter what. He's like, I'm just going to swing out. I still manages to get 2 kills on top of that. You'll take it. I mean, that's just something to laugh about with ISO killing his teammate, but the leader was already dead to rights no matter what.
Anyway, the staircase push could be fruitful for Legacy, and it just really gives an angle for Corrupt and Tim. And what a convergence from Legacy. And it's just a bloodbath where somehow Kober comes out on top.
This is just going to get literally muddy. I was joking around in the first map because Muddy was in there, but this is going to get pretty insane. Starting from now on. These 2 teams just want to go toe-to-toe and fight. Prosperity doesn't want to get disrespected here by Legacy from that first map result when they had such a strong lead, and they want to close it out and try to force this 3rd map. Look at that. See, he was dead to rights. He was dead to rights.
Actual drive-by.
Actually, technically, he's not because he avoided the radius of the other nades, but it's okay. If he stayed in there, he was dead. So it all works out.
Holding my breath for this outlaw, but it did end up in rubble. Legacy have been able to farm up now the orbs with this forward position. Paranoia. Okay, just get out of dodge there for Koberg. And you're realizing the stack of where Legacy are. So the race is on for Prosperity to hit C.
And it's one already crossing inside the site, going for that plant. Legacy is too far away here on the rotate. So if they open the door, they probably have to if they want to try to fight them or try to close the gap and die to Spike.
Spike planted.
Right now for the 2 players towards, I mean, I thought they were going to try to full wrap towards that C site to try to close in against Cobra, but now they're just thunderfooting back towards Waterfall.
Yeah, you got a Prowler for Jonah if you can suss out that ISO. Is this extended out? The Boombot gonna eat up some of the bullets from Legacy. Corrupt's gonna get on the high ground. Satchel to maybe make Legacy a bit awkward, and Prosperity focus their sight lines, and the smoke in place means Legacy gonna be safe to just die to Spike at this point. I don't think you're gonna want to push into that.
Yeah, and you're fine. I mean, I respect it for Legacy.
One enemy remaining.
No, I don't
Okay.
respect it anymore.
Just thought it would have been fine to die to Spike there, but yeah, just jump out, I guess.
Yeah, thankfully they gave it to the Omen. So as I said that, the last time that we had an Omen TP available for this map, Tim was able to clutch ace at that point. So do we really want to give it to Cobra? We'll see. That said, though, in the end, I respect the thunder footing that they did from B main back into the waterfall. You're trying to just force the players to run against you, and they just got 5 classics to fight against close range, and it worked out. They got a couple of picks out of that one, but then it just gave up their lives to Cobra hiding inside that smoke, who didn't really mind dying to Spike because he only had a ghost. So getting min-maxing value out of the positioning and the kills. Prosperity ties up the game and have a pretty decent buy for the bonus. Still long-range weapons with Yuki with the L1 this time around, not the leader.
All right, trying to leverage the Stingers, B Stinger from Prosperity to just get into B and spread out around the site. I like this forward spot from the Deleter, who's just going to be barking away at Muddy on the other side of Breakable Door. And Tim can throw a paranoia here, so I'm worried for Prosperity's post plan. And I guess they break down the door, they get a lucky surprise on Muddy before Tim could really retaliate. And now he's just gonna die to the wall bullets. So Tim not able to really fight back in that case. While the rest of the retake from Legacy is doing quite well, but really they just walk into a Prosperity trap of them surrounding the site. Oof. Jonah has an Odin, and now nothing at all. Prosperity in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, Prosperity in the lead, but also converting their bullets round 2. That was actually quite nice in the end. A little bit of a passive play from Legacy to kick things off here on not really having players anchoring up towards that B site. I don't know if we're missing a wall. I don't know if we're missing stalls from a Vice. But it really gave a chance here for Prosperity to knock things out and take the lead now against Legacy. If you're looking at it, even the rotates there, they never broke the door in the very beginning. So they didn't really allow themselves a chance to do a better retake than they did towards that B site.
Tim's paranoia didn't hit, so that was unfortunate. Howler didn't get into B there for Yuki. Still has one left.
There.
This is quite forward too for Legacy and stacking, but this time not 5-man stacking on the one side. Because remember last time that gave Prosperity just a full C hit for free.
Yeah. At least the aggressive in the Prowler, the aggression in the Prowler allows them for them to play the high-low and almost catching Coburg off guard. Now moving everybody towards Blast and also with Corrupt.
Thorns. Yeah, Thorns for Blast. Just hoping to find timing. The good headshot. Kind of awkward to swing with the Sheriff and gets a good flash. Just enabling himself and creates amazing delay for the rest of Legacy. And to deny this and get a thrifty.
We're back, baby.
So back.
I mean, what else could you really ask for at this point? They had perfect stalls coming out from the util from Blast. Gambled here on the pushback towards that C site, and it worked out. Well, actually, I don't think they necessarily gambled it. They really pushed the players into the right spots. When you had that aggressive push out on the east side Robo to kick things off, and then you're forcing after some body shots onto Goldberg to say there's a stack towards A. They have to be weak towards B or C. You're playing rifles against maximum 2 players towards that C site. You had great utility from Blast and Corrupt to come out, and then the Shearers just answered back when they delayed long enough for everybody to come through.
Well, Jonah ended up taking more damage than I think he gave, so he's gonna still try anchor up in tree. Prosperity gonna cut into B.
Ult is ready.
And okay, Jonah ends up doing more damage, and that actually gets the spike down. Thankfully, Deleter comes back to get the spike, and Corrupt just destroys Prosperity's B setup. Just really got tripped up over some obstacles, called an Odin. My God,
Yeah.
what a flawless. From thrifty to flawless, what the hell is going on?
That's what they were hoping that Yuki was able to do there with the Odin inside the tree when Prosperity was playing the defensive side. Great shots coming out from Jonah. Jonah has had a lot of experience playing into tier 2, grinding in to try to make it into the VCTs from that open circuit back in like 2021. So he's been playing the game for quite a long time. Still trying to find his opportunity here. At least makes it into Challengers and shows that he still has what it takes despite the year since Valorant came out. Now at year 5 and gaining all the experience throughout the years and continue to spray and forcing now players to be isolated and separated on the attempt to take rubble control.
Nightfall available, but Yuki's gonna hang back. Just watch a B walk up from Legacy, but also may want to rejoin the team. This would be one hell of a fake. I think it all depends if Izo could get lucky here around staircase. They opened up the tree door and Jonah's playing further back, and I don't think Prosperity want to walk into an Odin trap again.
Yeah, exactly, and they're fine for Legacy. They don't want to over rotate yet. So right now you're still jiggling down towards this C-long. It's Izo, aka the GOAT. And he's just trying to jump spot the C, and he'll see it soon. And once he does so, he could stall enough with paint shells. Hopefully there's still a Viper Orb to help him out at that spot. It's on an Omen smoke at least.
Muddy doesn't have a nade, or at least just used it, so it's just gonna delay what he can at C. Meanwhile, dealer, well, is dealing kills. That's all nice and dandy. What's with these potential drifties, man? This is very winnable. Deleter, get dimensional drift to pressure back sight, and we'll get Muddy on the back foot.
You gotta give this fight to Izo. Why you have Yuki plant? There you go. Get the plant. Owen kill gets you Hunter's rolling thunder. Sorry, Snowstopper. Well, Yuki already has his ult.
Nightfall was sick, got the leader the kill, but now Blast and friends are retaking from all sides, and Prosperity are going to be left playing from Mound. It's not going to be ideal, especially when Blast is that good in the pit to just seal things off. You're going to have to watch this go by. Wait, what?
Okay. Thankfully.
Okay.
Thankfully.
These rounds are insane.
That's what I was gonna say before. Like, pardon me for cutting you at the same time here, Lemon Kiwi, because Yuki already had his ult. If you're able to just maximize the ult orbs on your side, you saw that Izo got the kill, and he was already ready with the showstopper, but unfortunately got immediately traded out. But they had great util on the pulse plant. That's why they wanted to invest into their ults too. Why the deleter went in with the Euro ult in the first place, so they could clear out that space and play onto that site. And yeah, what a pick coming through here from Colbert to start. But then he gets immediately pushed out. But at least they forced out so many ults from Legacy. Look what they have left on the defensive side. Nothing left into the next cycle that could be muddy into the tail end of this half.
Okay, GG. So this gets literally blown up. Muddy is on fire. Prosperity tried to bite back. And now it's just an Odin that's keeping Legacy suppressed, but they're happy to grab this orb and call it a day on this round.
Yeah, you almost have the same amount of util to like play out on a defensive side flood, just as Prosperity did on their first half when they were taking defense. Really hard for Legacy, oh sorry, for Prosperity to take control of Rubble in the first place. Now the last two are going to try to potentially play the hero. If they contact play and walk into the C site, yes, there's going to be a stall with the Razor Vines, but they still have at least map control and side control for the side of Prosperity.
Ice wall gonna be triggered here, and they'll go in together. Not gonna hurt them too much. Thorns do damage, of course. That means Blast could get a good surprise. This is gonna be flashed away, so Blast is gonna wait for reinforcements.
2v4, no paranoia, no haunt, so they're just probably going to wait it out if Jonas has his very soon. If not, they have to 3-2-1 swing this.
And he backed away from what seemed like such a good position just to spam through the wall. And Legacy, 4 versus 2. The retake that is now dwindling. Yuki with the Prowler last second gets Legacy's attention towards Main, and Main could get a surprise at 3 HP. He cannot withstand, and it's Odin that screams through all the smokes before Corrupt silences him for good.
Nicely done. It almost worked out. If Manny once again gets another one of those impact frags, a second one, potentially even doable for the long range Odin hold. But now it's being picked up, salvaged, could be given back as well into the hands of Jonah. Has been good with it so far. It's going to say Corrupt decides to keep it, and there you go. Juggles it to the right player. And it goes back to the tree side hold. Legacy looking pretty good overall now to close out the series. We talked about the lack of ults that they had on their side, but they still have power of friendship, power of numbers, and good protocols on the retakes.
Showstopper too. Money's just going to play off his op. Kind of expecting a big showstopper rubble explosion fight, but just going to play the distance, play the better guns, and now an op has to hold B. A little worried about that.
And it looks like they want to play not to lose here for Prosperity. A lot more slower in the tempo and isolated on a default. Just trying to find info. It's respectable. It's a half buy to try to play for the overtime. So Cobra just got picked off. Makes it a little bit harder for them to really try to execute towards the site. But there's an opportunity for Prosperity to leverage a showstopper on the lower buy.
Prosperity was just like any small site to try and pit into, but kind of walking uphill here if you're Prosperity. Here at the very back, Blast. Just gonna allow this one to go by without getting any picks, and Corrupt tries to find an angle, and Iso's gonna walk by, and Yuki's aim is insane. Showstopper, right where the sun don't shine, and a plant too.
Gotta get
very
hit.
winnable. Hit. That's all. That was the big win condition if they could get Manny into position. Now Legacy can still try to spam through. They have 3 different angles, and Iso surprises him. We'll get an upgrade on that weapon. Showstopper does not connect, and Muddy's left to search, and now it's lost in the sauce. A thrifty this time for Prosperity.
Both teams right now, both Legacy and Prosperity, when you're giving just a little bit of space for your opponent, they're going to take it. And they're going to be able to overpower you with it for sure. Be able to walk into the C-side like that. When you wait at the wall for the whole time, you get a cherry pick to surprise the player into watching across from Waterfall. And when you have Iso at that spot, playing close range with a showstopper, that's a guaranteed kill. You're going to have to use it no matter what. Even if you lost a player in the process, you're able to get a plant and a pit up. You get map space, map control. The rotate's way too long for Legacy. Prosperity now has a chance. They've evened out the playing field in terms of what ults are available for both sides. Trying to fight back towards the B main. It's 3 players there for Legacy. Now finally a stalemate, and we go back into the defaulting. A 1-3-1 for Prosperity as Cobra is just trying to continue to sell some sort of a fake rotate back towards the A side. It works out. Look at how Muddy and Tim are immediately thunderfooting back towards that staircase, and now the C side's weak.
A lot of util too from Legacy with the C's name plus the boom bot, so Prosperity may be happy all that util is being wasted. They prowler up into tree, not going to find an Odin user here, which maybe some smiles on Prosperity's faces there, but all depends if Cobra can open up the right lane, but there's no pressure on stairs. That's maybe what Yuki's trying to provide. Odin, it's kind of different to do. Now with the ult being popped from the attacking side, they're going to go and sustain C.
And while he fully TPs, they've actually kept Yuki inserted so he could actually go for rotates and try to catch the flank. So these players on C side now have to full stall.
Yeah, Iso, you don't want to gift them any free kills, and Blast is going to sneak through the smoke. There's a double swing. Oh, what a flick from Kohlberg. The post plant that currently still stands for Prosperity. But now Legacy make their way in from the front. They just, Yuki lets the Odin do all the talking, but Legacy still have feet under them, still afloat. And the kills are ringing in, and it's Corrupt.
No time.
It's going insane, but unfortunately no time. And saving these rifles is pretty ideal too, getting into the end of this map.
Yeah, and maybe being able to get a pick off that haunt after from Yuki over to Manny. That's actually quite big. You talked about economy. You need to bring some rifles through. You definitely have the econ on the side of the attack because you've already stringed now 2 rounds in a row. On the side of Legacy, they were getting pretty close to absolutely nothing left. Corrupt finally, you see that he has 3,600, just enough right now to buy onto Blast, and he could still have a full rifle round. But this is an opportunity here for Prosperity that if they win this round here, they tie up the game, they force Legacy into an eco, and they could take the lead into round number 23. So this is an important timeout being called by Legacy because they're starting to feel like the lead is really slipping through their fingers. When, yes, even though it went back and forth, the game plan was still really quite there for Legacy on how they play their defense and attack.
Last player
Prosperity can be pretty win streaky on this map.
out of charge.
See how this ends, though. And just these thrifty rounds. I think Legacy have converted a couple of those, and Legacy have been really, really fun to watch. I was actually just trying to remember if anyone's even taken a timeout yet. So
Yeah.
Definitely Legacy's first this map, but just throughout the series.
Yeah, actually, both teams did already for this. This was the last timeout now of the map itself. Unless Challengers is different for me than VCTs, but if you see the blinking one, it's the one they're currently using, what's left. So Legacy now in Prosperity going into round number 22. As we mentioned before, the buy that you have here is just enough for them to still have a strong gun round for Legacy side. A triple push out towards mountain control, and after this timeout, you're seeing there's a lot more util for stall for Legacy on the C site, leaving B site kind of open, leaving only the wall in terms of information in front of that B site.
Dimensional drift. The leader on an adventure. Going away past the B site too. Checking out C here at the last second. This is going to be where Prosperity ends up, and now you got to worry about this flank and coming through the B link door. Prosperity better watch their backs, but they're still getting through all this Vice util. And thankfully for them, Legacy are just going to keep to a traditional waterfall pinch, and ISO has been ahead of the game on these post plants, having earlier timings, catching Legacy off guard. Now have to get back in with no ults, but just vibes. And it's Boombot's exchange, and ISO's gonna get out of the way. And just the Boombot. It's a fantastic distraction and an opener as Legacy stomp on in. And it's just Manny, and it's Legacy up to match point.
Oh my god, the first satchel that was thrown, I'm pretty sure that was by ISO, popped up both Boombots. And then it went off the wall and chased after him. He has to throw a second one, so it pops through the air, and he hopes to break it in time, but it pops right in his face. That Boombot became a 6th player there for Legacy for the retake. That was insane. Towards the end, though, I was still quite surprised on how this was played on the defense for Legacy. It seems like they were fully convinced that the Euro ult was a committed ult for them to hit the B site for Prosperity side. So they fully gave up C site. They went for a triple flank on top B. But then they just walked to make sure that they clear out the whole B site with all that util, thinking that Prosperity was there. But thankfully, because they weren't and there was no pressure coming out from Prosperity, they still were able to have enough numbers for the retake.
Uh-oh. A lot of pressure now on Manny. Legacy getting really aggressive, but this opens up the rest of the map. And wait, Manny converts one at least. Prosperity got to watch the flank, and they're going to commit the whole team. They haven't budged at all.
My ult is ready.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good read to stay in the spawn at first because they realized the previous round from that triple push from Legacy, it paid dividends for them. So it ended up being a 1-for-1 this time around, but you're starting to see that Legacy, they were committed to do the same plan once again. This time trying to fight back towards Rubble. Flash for flash, ult coming through, defense on the top.
One enemy remaining.
Nightfall plus Tim equals death. You pulled out an ace, and he'll make you a Joker, and it's Legacy that can start to build a legacy from here on out. A 13-10 win and a series sweep against Prosperity.
Yeah, and Prosperity again towards the end or towards the beginning of these two maps had such